Feel free to mute yourselves and turn off your camera. And before we get into child's pose, we're just going to sit our sit bones back towards our heels. So make sure your knees are about as wide as the mat. Just gently touch the big toes and just sink your sit bones down onto your heels. And rest the palms of your hands just on the tops of your thighs. Really grow out through the crown of the head, lower the shoulders. And we'll just inhale and exhale, rolling the shoulders forwards and back. Just filling up on the inhale. Just finding some movement there in the shoulders. And then reversing the action. Just inhale as you take the shoulders back and up, and exhale as you drop them forwards and round. It's nice to loosen up the shoulders before we get going. And then we drop our right fingertips beside us and we'll inhale. Just float that left hand up on top. Take the gaze up towards the palm. And just got some options here as well. You can just gently bend into that right elbow or just keep that arm straight. Just see how you go. Maybe even just bending and straightening. Take an inhale and then exhale, float that left hand down. And inhale the right hand up, palm facing down. Track the right shoulder back. Just so you get a nice stretch down the right side of the body. We'll inhale back to center. Exhale, float that right hand down. We'll take a deep inhale here. Then exhale, creep the fingertips forwards. Come up onto the fingertips. So tent the hands and really push those sit bones down towards the heels before you take the forearms down onto the mat and relax the forehead down. I'm not worrying if the sit bones pop up from the heels, but at the same time, just actively pushing into the hands slightly. So you can try and fold slightly more at the hips. And then in your own time, just find that breath. So just surrendering the forehead into the mat. And feel the rise and fall of the belly. And just gradually extending the length of the inhale. And extending the length of the exhale. Circling that breath around the body. And then just massaging the forehead into the mat, rolling from temple to temple, releasing any tension in the neck. And relaxing through the forearms, relaxing through the shoulders. Take a deep inhale here and coming up onto your fingertips again. So lifting the forearms, lifting your arms off the mat and walking those fingertips round towards the right. And just tracking the torso round as you do so. And relaxing the torso over that right thigh. Keeping up onto those fingertips. And find that stretch down the left side of the body. And maybe walking those fingertips around a bit further if you're not feeling the stretch, or taking that left hand on top of the right hand. Just so you can sink a bit further into it. And not forgetting to keep with the inhales, keep with the exhales. And last deep inhale here. Exhale, release the left hand, come up onto the fingertips. And then travel those fingertips around through center, off the left hand side of the mat. And taking the torso over that left thigh. And finding that opposite stretch, this time down the right side of the body. And just noticing how far around you need to take it. And again, there's no pressure. Just really concentrating on where you feel the stretch. An option to take that right hand, covering over the left, just to work slightly deeper into it. And then just mindfully connecting with the breath. Really filling up on the inhale. And releasing on the exhale. Take another inhale. Exhale, release the right hand down, come up onto those fingertips again. And traveling the hands back through center. And we'll come up into our tabletop position. So coming up onto your hands and knees. Take the knees in a bit. Make sure that your feet are the same distance apart as your knees. Take your hands underneath the shoulders. And we'll just sway the hips out from side to side, releasing any tension. And then coming back to center, we'll take our cat-cows. So at first, just finding that neutral position, pressing the tops of the feet into the mat, tucking the tailbone, really pulling the navel back towards the spine, dropping the shoulders away from the ears, gaze between the thumbs. And then we inhale to drop the belly, take the gaze up, and exhale, reverse the action, arching through the spine, chin to chest, pushing through the shoulders, and letting the breath initiate the movement. Maybe even taking a pause at the top of the inhale or the bottom of the exhale. Just enjoying this opposite pull of direction with each breath. And then coming back to neutral, we'll take our weight into our left hand and inhale, take our right fingertips up towards the ceiling. So we're opening out through that right side. And then exhale, thread that right hand underneath the left. Hover the ear off the mat. So we're not coming all the way down. We're just going to hover. And then we inhale, coming all the way back up. Open up that right side of the body. Exhale, thread the fingertips underneath the armpit. Take the ear to a hover. Inhale back up. One last time. Thread those fingers underneath. Take the ear to a hover. Take an inhale here. And then see if you can send that left leg back. So we're hovering, but we're kind of coming into a balance. That's it. I can only see Rosario. Take an inhale here, and then exhale, push through that left hand and travel the right fingertips in front of you. So we come into that Superman stretch. And just staying with the breath here, so lengthening out through those right fingertips, pointing those left toes down towards the mat, really pulling that left shoulder away from the ear, and just staying with the breath. And it's a really easy position to hold the breath. I don't know why. I think it's harder than it looks. Inhale here, exhale, drop the right hand down, but keep the back foot lifted. We'll inhale here, exhale, point and flex the toes. So we're just working into the ankle, maybe take some circles with the ankle. And we inhale, float that left leg up. So we work into that left glute, and exhale, tap the floor. So we're going to inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, tap the floor. Inhale, up. Exhale, tap the floor. And we'll just see if we can go for another 8. 7, 6. Try to keep the tailbone tucked so you protect the lower back. 4, I believe. 3, 2, 1. Hold it there. And we're going to take some pulses. So point through the toes and just take some micro pulses here, really working into that glute. For 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop the left knee down, sway the hips from side to side. And we're going to take the left knee out to the side. So come back through center, come back to that neutral tabletop. And we're going to inhale, take that left knee, keeping it bent out towards the left. And we exhale, take it down. So we inhale, exhale down. Just again, working into those glutes. So we'll do 8 more. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and we'll hold it up if you can. See if you can take some pulses. Option to make it harder if you want to extend the leg all the way out. And we'll stay here for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take the left knee down, sway the hips out from side to side. Deep inhale, knees as wide as the mat, and we'll sink those sit bones back down into a child's pose. Just resting here, just for a couple of breaths. Either keep the fingertips extended up towards the top of the mat, or taking your hands by your sides, palms facing up. And find that breath. And just notice your heart rate, notice your temperature. And 3 more breaths here. And 1 more breath. And coming up on the inhale, coming back through that tabletop. So taking your knees in, feet as wide as the knees, pushing through the tops of the hands, gaze down towards the thumbs. And we'll go the other side. So pushing our weight into our right hand, we'll inhale, open up to the left. And exhale, thread those left fingertips underneath the right arm, hover the left ear. And we inhale, coming back up. Exhale, thread and hover. Inhale, come up. Exhale, thread and hover. Holding it here, take an inhale. And as you exhale, make sure you're stable into that right hand. And we're going to send that right leg away. Inhale here, exhale, push through the right hand. And then elongate through the left. So we've got that opposite pull of direction. Bit of a tangle. I think you can get there in the end. And we're just holding here. So making sure those right toes are pointing down towards the mat. Really extending through those left fingertips. Tucking the tailbone so we're automatically engaging the core. And dropping that right shoulder and the left shoulder away from the ears. Again, it's really easy to hunch and hold tension in the shoulders in this position. Focus on the breath. Inhale here. Exhale, drop that left hand down. Take another inhale, and then as we exhale, we'll point and flex through those right toes, right ankle. Take some rotations. Take another inhale as we send that right leg further up towards the ceiling, and we exhale to tap the floor. So inhale, take it as high as you can. Exhale, tap. Inhale, lift. Exhale, drop. And we're here for 8, 7. Keep that tailbone tucked so you can protect that lower back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold it at the top here as high as you can. And we'll take some pulses for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop that right knee down, sway the hips out from side to side. Take an inhale and an exhale, and then we'll inhale, keeping that right knee bent. We'll open up that right knee to the side and exhale to drop it down. So 8 here, 7, 6, 5, 4, really warming up, 3, 2, and 1. Hold it up at the top here. Option to send that right leg away. So you're extending it out, and we'll take those pulses for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drop that right knee down. Sway the hips out from side to side. Even take a big inhale and exhale. We'll sink down into child's pose again. Just for one more breather before we find some movement and find some stretches. So just enjoy the release, enjoy the breath. Deep inhale. As we come up through tabletop, bring the knees in, tuck the toes under, and we're going to send the hips high into our first downward dog. So start by just pedaling out the feet, dropping alternate heels. Just in time with your breath. And then come to some stillness. So lowering the heels down towards the mat, or just keeping a small bend in the knees, pushing the torso back towards those thighs. Make sure you're not holding any tension there in the neck. And send the breath around. And just notice how you're feeling. Notice if you're feeling particularly tight in the backs of the legs. Just notice if you're finding it particularly intense. And we'll inhale, come up onto our tiptoes. And exhale, drop the heels down. We'll go again, so inhale, tiptoes. Exhale, down one last time. Inhale, tiptoes. Exhale, drop the heels. Take another inhale. And this time as we exhale, we'll walk the feet up towards the hands. Coming to the top of the mat, taking hold of opposite elbows and finding our ragdoll position. So just finding either some movement here, just gently swaying from side to side, or just using the weight of your head, just finding some stillness. An option to keep the legs straight or take a nice bend in the knees so that you can rest the ribs, rest the torso on the tops of the thighs. Really releasing through the lower back here. Really deep inhale, exhale, release the elbows. Plant the left hand in front of the left foot, and we're going to inhale, open up to the right. So straighten through the right leg. Take the right fingertips up towards the ceiling, and keep the left leg bent. Inhale here, exhale, float the right hand down, plant the right hand, we'll inhale, go the other side. So open out to the left, straightening up through the left leg. Exhale, drop the left hand down, we inhale, go the other side. Exhale, inhale left, and exhale, planting both hands this time, so taking a real bend in the knees and really pushing through both hands, straight arms, cheeks or nose between the knees, really rounding through the spine, space between the shoulders, really engage the core. And we'll inhale to a flat back, so reverse that action, straighten the legs, hands on the shins, gaze forward. Exhale, fold. And we'll inhale, sweep all the way up, folding up at the hips. Hands to touch above the head. And we exhale, hands to heart center. Pausing here. Readjusting. Adjusting. Make sure your feet are hip width apart, maybe. Just find your center, just rocking. Making sure your feet are equal width apart, dropping the shoulders, pulling up on the kneecaps, really lengthening the spine. Then we'll inhale, drop the hands as we sweep all the way up, palms to touch. And we'll exhale, take the hands behind, and we'll take hold of opposite elbows. Inhale. Really squeeze the elbows together. And as we exhale, we're going to fold at the hips. If you can't reach the elbows, that's fine. Just take hold of the wrists. And we come into a forward fold. Just allowing the weight of your head just to pull the torso gently down towards the floor. And we'll inhale, folding up at the hips. Release the elbows or the wrists, sweep the hands up all the way overhead. And exhale, opening the hands out, swan diving forwards, coming into that forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold, plant the hands, and we're going to step back with the left foot. And inhale, sweeping all the way up, coming straight up into a high lunge. So pushing into the back heel. Front leg is bent, but not sinking too far. So we're lifting up slightly so that we're really actively engaging that front leg. Drop the shoulders, take the gaze up towards the ceiling. Really see if you can straighten through the arms, but palms facing each other. Inhale here, exhale. We're going to take a twist to the left as we open up the arms. So take the left hand behind you, right hand in front. Taking the hands out to shoulder height. Inhale, back through center. And exhale, we're going to twist to the right this time. So right hand behind, left hand in front. Really push through that back heel for stability. Inhale, back through center. Exhale, twist to the left again. Real balance challenge, this one. Inhale, back through center. Exhale, we twist to the right. Push through that back foot. Inhale, back through center. Exhale, drop the hands behind you, interlace. Inhale to shine the chest forward, squeeze the shoulders, take the gaze up. Exhale, we take a bow. So take that right shoulder towards the right knee. Track the hands up overhead, squeeze the shoulders. Allow the head to drop so there's no tension there. We inhale, sweep all the way up. Exhale, fold all the way forwards, frame that front foot. And we step back into a plank with that right foot. And just have a shuffle here, make sure that your feet are hip width apart, make sure those hands are underneath the shoulders. Push into the heels. Inhale here, exhale, drop to the knees, release the toes, lower all the way down, keeping those elbows in. Then we inhale, come to our baby cobra, squeeze the elbows towards the back of the room. And exhale, pushing all the way up through that cat stretch, chin to chest. Tuck the toes under, and we come back up into our downward dog. And just settling here. Again, notice how you're feeling with the intensity. Notice if you need to make any adjustments. Perhaps bending further into the knees. Or even taking the hands so they're slightly wider apart so you've got more space for the shoulders. And we'll inhale the left leg up this time. Exhale, step the left foot through. Inhale, sweeping the hands up, coming into a high lunge on this left side. And again, making some adjustments here if you need to, so really pushing into that back right heel. Bend this time in the left knee, dropping the shoulders, really straightening through the arms, palms facing each other, and just lifting up slightly through the hips, so making sure you're not really sinking down, so that you're really making sure that you're actively pushing through that left foot. Inhale here, exhale. We take a twist to the right. Take the hands out to shoulder height. Right hand towards the back, left to the front. Inhale back through center. Exhale. We twist to the left, the harder one. Really pushing through that right heel this time. Inhale through center. Notice the wobbles. Exhale to the right. Inhale through center. Exhale to the left. Inhale through center. Exhale, drop the hands behind you. Interlace. Inhale, drop the hands. Shine the chest forward. And exhale, we take the bow. So left shoulder to left knee. Really release through the neck. Take the hands up overhead, squeezing the shoulders. Push into that back heel. Use the core so you're not collapsing. And we inhale, release the hands. Sweep all the way up. Exhale. Float the hands down, frame that front foot. We step back to plank with the left foot. Readjust here. Deep inhale, and this time as you exhale, we're going to lower all the way down, but really, really slowly, bending through the elbows, keeping the elbows tucked into the chest. And then we're going to inhale, switch onto the tops of the feet, pushing up into our full cobra. Squeeze the shoulders, take the gaze up. Inhale here, exhale. Take the gaze over the left shoulder to the left heel. Inhale through center, exhale. Gaze over that right shoulder. Inhale back through center, exhale. Tuck the toes under and send the hips high. Coming through our downward dog. And find that breath. Inhaling through the nose. And exhaling through the nose. And we're going to inhale the right leg up towards the ceiling. Make sure those right toes are pointing down. And then as we exhale, we're going to bend through that right knee. Take the right knee towards the right wrist. Find the mat with the shin and walk the left toes back. Or inhale, drop the hands on either side of that front knee. Square off through the hips. And we exhale. Come down onto our forearms to start with. Maybe swaying the hips from side to side. And then option just to keep up onto your forearms here, or maybe taking your forehead onto the backs of your hands. Or maybe taking the forehead directly down onto the mat, extending those fingertips up. But knowing you don't have to commit to any position, so coming back up if that feels better, just exploring. And then settling, maybe rocking the hips from side to side again, just gently exploring your range of movement. And find that breath. And inhale up onto your hands. Walk your hands up towards you. And take your right hand on the inside of the right knee. And we're going to inhale. Take the left arm up. Send it behind you. And either just holding here. So taking the gaze towards the back of the room. Pushing through that right hand. Finding that twist. Or option to bend into that left knee. So you take hold of the left foot. And again, option here as well. So you can either take that left heel towards the left glute or push into the left shoulder. So just exploring what feels right for you. But staying with the breaths. Deep inhale here. Exhale, release, walking yourself back through center. Taking your palms shoulder width apart. We'll tuck that back toe under, lift the back knee, and gently step yourself back into your downward dog. And have a pedal out before we go the other side. So we inhale, take the left leg up this time. Really push into that right heel. And then exhale, bend through that left knee. Find the left knee to that left wrist. And walk the right toes out towards the back. Squaring off the hips, coming up onto the fingertips. Maybe even rock from side to side. And then exhale, folding forward. So firstly, just coming onto your forearms. And then just finding the position that feels most restful for you. So taking your forehead down onto the backs of those hands or extending out or coming back up. And again, just exploring that range of movement. You may even want to just adjust by walking those right toes back. And just notice where you're feeling that stretch. Maybe it's into the left glute, maybe the left hip. maybe the right hip flexor. And just settling. Enjoying the breath. And in your own time, inhaling, pushing up onto your hands. And this time taking the left hand on the inside of that left knee. We inhale and exhale the right hand over, taking the right fingertips towards the back of the room with that gaze. Finding that nice stretch in the left shoulder, maybe coming up onto the fingertips of the left hand. And either just finding this twist here or taking an inhale, and as you exhale, take a bend in the right knee and taking hold of the right foot. And either pulling that right heel towards the right glute or pushing it away, pushing it actively into that right hand. Pausing here for a breath. Exhale to release. Gently coming out of it, twisting back towards the front. And then we'll roll over onto our left hip. Bring our legs round in front of us, and we're going to stack the knees. So it's quite difficult to explain, but if you just take a bend with the left leg, and we're going to fold the right leg over the left, stacking the knees, taking your hands in front of you. And then this is probably the best way to get into it, actually. You can take your knees so that they're in line with each other, and then drop your sit bones down so that they come either side of the feet, or between the feet, more like. And you might find that your knees are kind of miles apart, and that's absolutely fine. The thing that we're wanting is a stretch, or so that you feel it in the outside of the hips. And make sure that you ground through both sit bones. So even if those knees are kind of really far apart, not worrying about it, make sure you're grounding between both of those sit bones, growing out through the crown of the head, taking hold of opposite feet. Deep inhale here, and then in your own time, just seeing if you can fold forward, releasing the fingertips and seeing where you can feel that stretch. First time I did this, I thought it was the most excruciating thing I'd ever done. It felt so unnatural and unfamiliar. But hips are something that you can actually stretch out much more easily than hamstrings. They're quite easily manipulated. So give it a few weeks of doing this. And they settle quite quickly as well. So you might find that after just a few breaths folding forward, you can actually ease slightly further into it. You might find the opposite of that, and you just need to come out, and that's absolutely fine. You just find that breath. And just focus on the inhales, focus on the exhales. And we inhale gently, folding all the way back up and changing the cross of your legs. So we want the top leg underneath. I'm not sure which one you did first, but it was my left that was on top. And adjusting your feet so they're either side, coming forwards onto your hands, crossing the knees as tightly over each other as you can before you sink those sit bones back. And you might find a really big difference on this side. It might be easier, it might be more difficult, but we've all got, especially women, quite wonky hips. So I find this much more difficult. Like my left glute really wants to lift off. So just really try to ground both sitting bones into the mat. Really engage the core, lengthen out through the head, drop the shoulders. Inhale and exhale. If you feel able and ready, just walking those fingertips forwards. But again, just noticing where you feel that pinch. And just again here, really focusing on that breath. We're really trying to relax through those hips on the exhale. Maybe taking the nose down towards the knees. Or maybe it's time to ease off. Just listening to your body. And then everyone gradually on the inhale, just gently, gently coming out of it. Taking your hands behind you as you uncross the legs. And we'll take the feet as well, slightly wider than the hips. Take your weight into your hands behind you. And we're going to just windscreen wiper out the knees from side to side. Should nicely ease off through those hips. Inhale here and exhale. We're going to come down onto our backs. Hug our knees into the chest. And take some circles with the knees. First one way, and then the other. And hug your knees into your chest, wrap your forearms around the knees. Maybe lift the back of the head off the mat, so you're really squeezing yourself into that embryo position. And exhale, release the back of the head onto the mat, cactus the arms. We'll take the soles of the feet onto the mat, bend in the knees, but take the feet as wide as the mat. And we'll inhale here and exhale, drop both knees over to the right hand side. It's a nice twist in the back, but also you should find a nice stretch for that left hip. If you want more stretch for that left hip, you can take the right foot on the outside of that left knee. Inhale here and exhale. Take the gaze over that left shoulder or the left fingertips, making sure both shoulders are still in contact with the mat. And just opening out, stretching that left hip. Deep inhale. And releasing on the exhale. Inhale as we lift both knees up. Take the gaze up through center, still keeping those arms in that cactus position. And we'll exhale this time to drop both knees to the left and take the gaze over the right. And again, option to take that left foot on the outside of that right knee. Or just allow the knees to drop to the left naturally. Finding a nice stretch in that right hip. And just a natural twist for the spine. And nothing too dramatic. Really deep inhale and exhale through the nose. Releasing any tension into the mat. And inhale, take both knees back to center. And exhale, we're going to send the legs long. And take the hands up overhead, interlacing the fingers, but pointing through the index finger, point through the toes, really nice pencil stretch. And exhale, take the hands by your sides, palms facing up. Take the feet as wide as the mat, allow the feet just to relax out to the sides. And we've reached our relaxation. So again, option here, if you're finding any tension in the lower back, taking a bend in the knees, maybe even taking the feet as wide as the mat, knocking the knees into center. And maybe taking both hands onto the belly. Just so you can feel the resistance of the belly rising and falling with the breath against the hands. And just finding some stillness here. Finding the breath. Just relaxing into the mat on the exhale. Sending the breath to any areas of tension. And just consciously keeping the breaths long. And relaxing through the facial muscles. Relaxing the cheeks. And the lips. And turning over onto your right side in your own time. Supporting your head with the back of your left hand. Soft bend in the knees. And then in your own time, using your left hand to push yourself up through seated. And finding a comfortable seat. And we'll take both hands on to the knees, palms facing down, soft bend in the elbows. And we'll take some cleansing breaths. So we'll do a really deep inhale into the belly, up into the chest, and then we'll sigh it out through the mouth. So just a couple more of these in your own time. Audible sigh out through the mouth. And namaste. Thank you, everyone.